I need someone behind this wall to hear me. That's why I did that. You ready?
I think we should be good, yeah.
Welcome. We were waiting for a quorum. I know I'm tardy starting the meeting, but this time it wasn't me. So welcome board members who are able to attend today. Welcome staff, welcome members of the audience, and welcome to our online audience as well. I am calling this meeting to order. I call the August 24th, 2023 meeting of the Central Valley Flood Protection Board into session. We're actually pleased to have all 15 of you in the audience. I like to see you, so thank you for being here. We're also pleased and will continue to have the hybrid format because we found that sometimes people just cannot come in person, sometimes it's too far, sometimes they don't want to be at the whole meeting, so we're going to continue to do that. So happy for that. So given that, welcome and glad you're here. I'll ask our board clerk to call the roll and determine our quorum. Mr. Jones.
Board Member Ramirez. Here. Board Member Grego. Here. Board Member Countryman.
Present.
Board Member Bosler is currently absent. Secretary Johnson.
Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, good morning.
Vice President Valines.
Yes, I apologize that I can't be there in person. I'm tending to some family matters. And my understanding is that it may be that our COVID rules for me participating officially have expired, so I may be an observer and not count toward your quorum or be able to vote. Is that right, Chris?
That is correct.
Okay. And Ryan, it didn't allow me to turn on my video. If you'd like me to, I think you may have to connect that on your end.
Okay, thank you. Vice President Valines. President Dolan.
Here. So we do have a quorum. That's 5 board members that constitute the quorum. I think you heard Board Member Johnson, who is unable to be here because of family matters, who come first. So he can participate basically as audience. He does not count. He does not count toward quorum, nor would his vote count. So sorry about that, Member Johnson, but I hope things will go well with your family. And we do expect Board Member Bosler in about 1 hour. She had, unfortunately, a conflict and couldn't be here right on time. So there we are. Let me give a review of the agenda very briefly. It is frankly pretty sparse. It may mean a relatively short meeting, but now that I said that, it probably won't be. But we'll see. First, we'll have announcements or introductions. Then we'll have approval of minutes for 3 meetings. Thank you, Secretary Johnson. There's a single consent item. Someone wants to talk about it, they have to say, otherwise we'll vote to approve because staff believes has indicated it's in order. We have a spot that is called public input. It's a limited speaking opportunity for someone who wants to tell us something that's not on the agenda for which we will not respond by state law. We have received a legislative update. The item for the United States Army Corps of Engineers is a placeholder today. DWR will provide a presentation. We're happy to see Jeremy Eric here to do that for us. We did announce and thought there would be a public hearing on an enforcement order, but it is postponed and is not to be heard today. Then we have noting various reports from our executive officer, attorney, and our branches. There will be a closed session, but we anticipate no announcements from that. We will return from the closed session and adjourn. So it's challenging to know how long this will be. If things go a bit long and there seems to be a need or a desire for a break, I'll do that. So be warned. I do that when I think it's appropriate. So let's proceed. Do we have any introductions or announcements, Mr. Leaf?
Yes, we do. I have a handful of announcements.
You do?
Yes.
Okay. Well, you're on.
Okay. Chris Leaf, Executive Officer for the board. First announcement, I am sad to announce that Eric Mao will be leaving us. His last day with the board will be August 31st. Eric has been with the board since 2016 and has been an important staff member, serving as program manager for the PL 8499 program, which includes coordinating with the Army Corps of Engineers and local agencies on letters of intent, PL 8499 rehabilitation repairs, and Army Corps of Engineer inspections. Eric is known for his responsiveness, his positive attitude, and willingness to go above and beyond.
Yes, except the above and beyond is to leave us.
We thank Eric for his service and wish him the best of luck at the Water Board.
And we do. Your work with encouraging and assisting and understanding 8499 and to get our local entities in that has made a tremendous difference in safety and improvement. Yes, you can talk if you wish, after I do. So we've been blessed to have you. The Water Board will be blessed to get you. I'm very sorry that you're leaving. It will be challenging to replace your energy and your smile.
Thank you, President Dolan. Eric Mao, still board staff today until end of the month. This morning President Jane Dolan just came down to greet me and chat with me for a bit. And I think that's very just a character of this board that I'm very respect and love everyone here. Just the family atmosphere that we have. And I'm trying to knock out that PE, and I keep reminding myself and tell everyone that it's a small world in the flood world, believe it or not, and hopefully, everyone will continue to cross paths, but I'm hoping to serve the Water Board and learn well as I did here, and thankful for everyone. Chief Engineer Michael Reich, who hired me in 2016, and I've learned so much when folks entrust me with the opportunity to jump into PL or LOIs and SWIFT. I'm so thankful that this board is so proactive. So I just wanted to come this morning to say thank you. Thank you, board member countrymen, for those challenging questions, but that are so informative for our public and for everyone's knowledge. So I just want to thank everyone. Thank you, President Dolan.
Well, thank you. We wish you well. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you.
President Nolan, can I say
I wasn't chatting with you. I was chastising you. Member Ramirez?
Thank you. I remember to use the button. I forgot that we get in line. Here.
Oh, and I wasn't looking, so
That's why I interrupted you. Oh, come back.
I was looking at you, not the screen. On.
I just want to say thanks. And when I heard Water Board, I was instantly happy for a couple of reasons. One is you can help bring us closer together to our Water Board friends. And on occasion, it's been known to happen before, but sometimes people come back to go to the Water Board. So I don't know. You never know what's going to happen.
Yes, sir.
So good luck and stay in touch for sure.
Thank you so much, Tim and everyone. Tim's engineering knowledge is just incredible, and we are also great. We love our sports teams, so we will continue to root, and hopefully we'll see each other at one of those games or something. Yes, sir. Thank you, Tim.
You said you had quite a list.
I have two more.
Oh, two more. Well, yeah, three is not quite a list. Okay.
All right, the second announcement is related to the first. Angeles Calizo has been working with Eric and other staff to transition Eric's assignments as smoothly as possible. So Jenny 2 will be taking over the PL 8499 program with support from Zubair Dosu. And the third announcement is I would like to welcome back Teresa Stern to the board staff. Teresa was the board's budget analyst for 2 years and recently returned after completing a 2-year limited term assignment at the Water Commission. She is currently assisting us with records management and permitting activities, which is very helpful.
Yes. Well, you didn't tell me that. I'm glad she's back. I've been around for a while, remember her. So welcome to that. I'm not going to say Eric now is replaceable, but Jenny too and Zubair Duso is, thank goodness. Thank goodness for the two of you. We're gonna get your email, and you're going to be on all our agenda notices and make sure you come. tell us everything the water board's doing in the San Joaquin Valley. Okay.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Oh, that was 3, okay. Thank you. And so no other announcements?
I have no other announcements.
Okay. So we're going to go to the approval of the minutes. And I'm thinking, Mr. Johnson, you're not Member Johnson today, sorry for that. Perhaps you could introduce that for us for the 3 sets of minutes and give us any highlights that you wish. I would
I'll do
appreciate it.
that, and then somebody else can make the motion. So we have 3 sets of minutes, the May, June, and July board meeting minutes. And just a couple things to note. I've reviewed them. I believe they're in order. We had one that was delayed, and we're shifting to try to do them all the month after the event. We had fallen into a pattern of doing them 2 months later, so that's why we have 3. Second thing is you'll see in a couple of places, close readers of the notes, that I added a little bit more detail in a couple of places than I might have when I first became secretary and was doing the notes. And I did it as an aid to everybody's memory. There have been a few times where we'll have a pretty robust discussion and something that stops short of a formal board action, but is still good to remember. Several board members, might say, we find this interesting, and Chris might say, yes, we'll follow up or we'll do that. And I'm leaving a little bit more detail in places like that as an aid to folks' memory. And so I'd encourage you to use that if you find it helpful, Chris and other staff members and board members, as breadcrumbs for things that we've said that we want to do. And with that, I'll stop and somebody can make a motion.
All right, thank you. Good to see you. Thank you for that. I think the work that you've done to not make them narrative minutes, but to put things, as you say, are breadcrumbs is extraordinary. So the former secretary says you're doing a much better job. Do board members have any questions or comments on that? All right, and I need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve all 3 minutes.
Okay, motion made by Member Griego. Seconded by Member Countryman. Please call the roll. This is a motion to approve the 3 sets of minutes, May 26th, June 23rd, July 28th, 2023.
Board Member Ramirez. Aye. Board Member Griego.
Yes.
Board Member Countryman.
Yes.
Board Member Bosler is currently absent, and Secretary Johnson is participating remotely. Vice President Valines. Aye. President Dolan.
Aye. The motion is carried. 5 are voting aye or yes. And 1 is absent, and 1 is just not able to lend us his vote. Thank you. Thank you, Brian. Okay, we're on to our consent item. One item. It's permit number 19723, the Resource Conservation District of Tehama County, modifying a low water crossing for Dye Creek so that the endangered species can actually get past that area and go to spawn. So I believe this is in order. Does anyone wish to remove it? I see no one on the board or in the room. Anybody raise their hand that want to talk about some more? Good work, staff. We'd love to see these things come forward, in my opinion. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Moved by Member Griego,
I'll second.
seconded by Member Ramirez. I'll give it to him this time, Joe.
Sorry.
Please call the roll.
Board Member Ramirez. Aye. Board Member Griego.
Yes.
Board Member Countryman. Yes. Board Member Bosler is currently absent, and Secretary Johnson is unable to vote. Vice President Valines. Aye. President Dolan.
Yes. That motion is carried, 5 votes in approval, no noes, and 2 who are just not voting. 1's not present, and 1 unfortunately cannot. Okay. We are at the spot on our agenda called public comment. This is, in case there's someone who wishes to make a comment to us for something that is, are you doing that, Mr. Engler? That is not on the agenda but wishes to speak to us. I'm giving these speakers 2 minutes. Mr. Engler. 2 minutes start when you hit the podium, not as you're walking to it. Good morning.
Good morning. President Dolan. Association. The comments I'd like to make today, first of all, I'd like to tell Eric thank you for his time here at the board. One of the things I'd point out personally and the work that Eric and I have done together over the years is that Eric was always willing to learn. If he didn't know the answer to something when we called, he would go find it and get back to you very quickly. And that's something I appreciate about everybody in this business is if you don't know, that's great, but let's figure it out. And Eric was always very good at that. So you're going to be missed, Eric. Jenny's going to step into a big pair of shoes. I'm sure she's going to be able to fill those shoes, but we will miss Eric. From the Flood Control Association, the only thing that I wanted to raise this month is the fact that PL 8499 is moving very slowly. At this point, we have not done any site visits or seen the beginnings to any PIRs. Those take about 30 to 45 days, and then they have to contract to go to construction. So at this point, I would be skeptical that we will see any PL 8499 repairs this year, and that concerns me. These are repairs that are supposed to help us so that the next flood season we don't have any issues. So I'm here to encourage the board to reach out to the Corps and figure out where they are in the process, why it's taking so long, and how we can best hurry that up. So with that, I'll keep it short today so we can all get out of here before lunchtime. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Engler. You did that very well. Your comments are noted. I can't tell you that we're going to talk to the Corps because we can't act on what you said. Are there anyone else in the audience? Any hands raised? Okay. Then we'll move on. Item 7 is a legislative update that has been prepared for us by our executive officer. State and federal, do you want to say anything, or is it just submitted?
Just the written report.
Written report. We do our homework. Anyone want to comment on any of it? Board members, audience, hands up. Okay. Moving right along. Item 8, United States Army Corps of Engineers is always item 8 on our agenda, whether they're going to talk or not. No, they're not. Is that right, Mr. Wright? Is that right, Mr. Wright? Okay, so we'll move on. Mr. Eric, Department of Water Resources. I'm pleased that Jeremy Eric, the manager of the Division of Flood Management, is here to present information on whatever his group is doing in DWR. Good morning.
Good morning, President Dolan, members of the board. My name is Jeremy Eric, Department of Water Resources, manager of the Division of Flood Management. It's my pleasure to be here. I haven't been here for a while, and I think it's timely and relevant.
It's been a very busy 2023.
Busy water year. I think I came at the end of January to give an overview of the January storms. I'm not here to give an overview of the March through June storms, but I'm here to talk a little bit about the 2027 CVFPB update, as well as the 2023 storm damage repair program. So unlike the board with the public comment from Mr. Engler, I feel empowered to act on his comments. So that'll be part of my talk today, relative to the Army Corps' efforts. So I'll start off with the 2027 update to the CVFPB. As you all know or should know, I believe Steve Rothert made a couple of announcements several months back about his division going through a reorganization and the Central Valley Flood Protection Plan transferring out of his group to the Division of Flood Management. So DMI, Division of Multi-Benefit Initiatives, led the development of the 2022 CVFPB update with the support of the Division of Flood Management and many others, including the board and our local partners. But the responsibility has been shifted over to the Division of Flood Management for 2027. So as a result, we established a new flood planning branch within DFM to lead the development of the plan update. And I recently completed the recruitment process for that key leadership role. And it's my privilege and honor to announce that Mr. Christopher Williams has been selected for this critical role. So Chris joined me today. I want to congratulate Chris publicly and thank him for putting his application in and going through the hiring process. I don't usually make it easy on candidates with these key roles, so he did a great job in the interview, and his expertise, his vision for what he wants to do with the 2027 CVFPB update will undoubtedly steer us in the right direction, steer us to a successful plan at the end of the day with all the collaboration and partnership of the board and our partners, the rest of the department. Chris will be working on organizing his team to set up for success. He's got a few positions to fill within his small but hopefully mighty group, and he'll be relying on a significant amount of support from others, as I mentioned. One thing about Chris, he has contributed significantly to all the Central Valley Flood Protection Plan updates, as well as the 2012 inaugural plan. He's led key initiatives such as the O&M work group, the development of the finance strategy, led the regional planning efforts for a number of years. So Chris comes with just a tremendous background. He's a great collaborator, great person to work with, genuine, honest, has integrity, and I couldn't be more proud to say that he's our new planning branch manager.
Well, thank you for that information, and we're happy that it's you, Mr. Williams. Yeah, and yes, you said the background so the rest of us don't have to, because the iteration of each plan from its beginning to now needs that background knowledge, so it's great. We stand shoulder to shoulder with DWR on having this update be effective, as well as we stand shoulder to shoulder to implement the really good 2022 as well. So big jobs ahead of us all, but we will work together for that, so
Yes,
congratulations.
thank you for that, President Dolan. So just a couple more words on the 2027 plan. Oh, I'm sorry.
Mr. Countryman has something to
Board Member
say.
Countryman.
Well, since we have the new guy here, I'd like to put a pitch in for integrating the climate change work that we've done into something that can be used in the design and operation of our project. So I'd like to see and participate to some extent in how do we make that transition from a what-if planning type thing to something that can actually be used to bolster the system.
I appreciate that comment. It's a good comment, and it's something we've always, struggled with, trying to figure out how the plan can effectively support the design and implementation of projects. So that's something, we look forward to diving deeper into technical analysis this go around, and so we'll definitely include you and engage you on those conversations.
A lot of information out there that's necessary, helpful, and we just have outdated regulations and design, so not so simple, but we'll work on it.
Right. Agreed. So as we reflect on the recent, storm events and us going through the reorganization process and recruitment process, I did want to highlight we have made some progress toward the 2027 update. Over the past several months, Chris and his team, as well as the DMI team, have been engaged in several what we called hot wash briefings. So we met with all the subject matter experts from the various components of the plan. So we met with the technical team, we met with the conservation strategy team, the plan formulation team, the investment strategy, the flood system status report and descriptive document, regional flood management planning group. So we met internally to kind of get the download from the previous team, which a lot of members will continue to be part of the team moving forward, but with the new assignment to the Division of Flood Management to develop, lead and develop the plan, we wanted to make sure that we started off with these in-depth discussions about, how did things go? What did you accomplish in 2022? What did you want to do but didn't have time to do? What did you, commit to in terms of the recommendations in the 2022 plan for 2027? And then what other things do we think we might want to look into? So just kind of the normal process of getting ready to scope out the 2027 update, which we look forward to doing in a transparent and public manner. So right now it's just kind of the organizing and getting our ducks in a row. So we will be coming back for more, for sure, to the board and to the coordinating committee and our regional partners. So it's something to look forward to. Let's see, I mentioned that.
Coordinating committee did.
We'll continue to build upon the themes that were established in the 2022 plan, and we look forward to exploring new themes that are of state interest and local local interests. And I did want to mention that recognizing the importance and the early and seamless coordination between the department and the board, Chris has been coordinating with Ruth Darling, and both Chris and Ruth and their teams are committed to continuing to work together as Mary and her team did, with Ruth and you all for 2022. We're just going to continue that collaboration. So
That's a smart
should,
thing
should
to
be a
do.
pretty seamless transition. We have the full support of Chris Turnell, Steve Rothert, Mary Jimenez, and her team. So we're going to have, again, another integrated, matrix team to support the development of this plan. And so the main difference is we have a new leader, Chris Williams. Let's see. Yeah, I think that enough said there. I think I said enough. I look forward to Chris's leadership and what he's going to bring to the table, and look forward to engaging with the board more on that. My second topic and last topic is on the storm damage emergency rehabilitation program. So we call it, the acronym is SDER, so you'll hear people say SDER. I don't like to say that word, so I just say Storm Damage Repair Program. But I want to give you an update on kind of our efforts to date. I think a month or two ago, it may have been Annalise that gave you an update on some of the PL 8499 submittals for the Sacramento Basin. So I want to start by framing what this program is to us, and there's three components. One is there's the PL 8499 rehabilitation that's led by the Army Corps. The state has a role. The department and the board support the Corps' efforts through taking care of the LERDs and the support that they need to implement those types of repairs. The second element is what I'd say we typically have done, so what we did in 2017 and 2019, where the state led implementation of critical repair sites and serious repair sites that were not eligible for federal assistance through the PL 8499 program. So that's the second element, was sort of the state-led 100% cost share by the state to repair those critical deficiencies or critical storm damages. We have a third element this year that it's kind of new but important, and it's the kind of the flood contingency side of the program. So in 2017, there was ample time to implement a number of repairs that same year before the November flood season began. This year, we're in a different situation. High water lasted too long, unfortunately, for us to be able to get, in a timely manner. I mean, the LMAs couldn't assess their sites, so we just recently, saw that the San Joaquin sites were submitted. Sacramento was about a month prior. And so because of the limited time to be able to implement anything this year, as far as permanent repairs, we have established this sort of new piece of our program, which we're calling flood contingency emergency repairs. So these are most likely temporary in nature, but they would be flood repair measures that will get us through the next high water season. And we're starting to build that. We're building that program as I speak, and so I want to talk about that a little bit too. But it's understandably so. The Army Corps, it takes them time. And I don't want to speak for them because I don't know the timing of their process, but it's understandable that it would take some time for them to sort through 76 plus 56 sites and figure out which ones are critical and which ones are eligible for PL 8499. So we're not anticipating the Corps getting to any repairs this year. I could be wrong. Again, we haven't been able to get a hold of the Corps, but I am committed to following up on Mr. Engler's comment, because it was already on my to-do list to talk to the Army Corps and just start that collaboration with DWR, the board, and the Corps on how these repairs are going to go. And we'll just continue that collaboration like we did in 2017. But we didn't want to wait, so we are looking at the contingency measures, which could include actual physical repairs, temporary repairs to some storm damaged sites, and it could also include contingency plans that we'll be working through with the LMAs, where we would talk to them and say, hey, this site may not be critical or at risk of failure during the next flood event, but it needs to have some sort of plan associated with it. Maybe we talk about what kind of flood fight would you do if the water rises to this level again, or would you stockpile emergency materials to do a flood fight? Or would you stockpile rock to, be able to place if needed during an emergency? So we'll be going through that process in parallel, but right now our focus is on identifying the most critical sites and seeing if we can do some temporary repairs, working through our Division of Engineering over the next few months. So I did want to thank the board staff for very diligently handing off the submittals to what the LMAs submitted for the Army Corps program. My understanding is they tabulated it for us, made it super easy for our team for both basins when those came in within, I think, the next day. So we received that information very quickly, knowing that, again, we don't anticipate the Corps being able to get to some of these critical sites, so we wanted to go out there and, hopefully, and I say hopefully because we don't have funding secured yet, and we're working on that. So that's the big caveat is we're working on getting funding. If it comes through in a timely manner, then we should be able to, address some of these critical sites. Just to give you a flavor of some of the what we've done in terms of process, we have reached out to all the LMAs in both basins to have them help us identify which sites they think are most critical. And we've done initial field reconnaissance surveys of all the sites that were deemed to be of concern. There's a few sites left to review in San Joaquin because we just got started on those this last week. So by the end of the month, we should have all the initial field reconnaissance done for the San Joaquin Basin. So after all that LMA outreach, the LMA's been great. We received confirmation back that we've got in touch with pretty much everyone by now. There's about 3 sites in each basin that we think need some attention before November. Or thereabouts, if there's a little bit of wiggle room, working with the board on extensions into the month of November, we'll work through that. And then we also are looking at what can be done maybe by March. So there's about another 10 sites that we're looking at that, may not be able to be done by November, but we still want to address those on a priority basis. So, I think that's most of it. Just for your edification, in the Sacramento Basin, of the 76 sites submitted, there are about 15 sites that are not eligible for PL 8499. That doesn't speak to the critical nature of them. It's the number of sites that are not eligible based on our records and your records. There are 15 sites, and in the San Joaquin, out of the 56 sites, there are about 22 that are ineligible for PL 8499. So, of those, we'll have to look at which ones have serious and critical sites that would be theoretically, I say, because we don't have funding yet, but be repaired by the state through our storm damage repair program.
Do we know if they not eligible is because the LOI has not been approved?
I don't know the specifics of what
look at.
nuance, just in terms of what's eligible and what's not right now. So yeah, I don't know the answer to that.
We'll look at that. That's a long list of things to do.
A lot of work.
Thank you for pointing out our enforcement branch for the work they do with getting the sites together and submitted as quickly as possible. Annalise Caliso does, and her crew does a great job.
Yeah, I've seen nothing but great things. I've heard nothing but great things. The teams are working well together, so that's great. And I think I covered everything. Yeah, we just want to work with the Army Corps and figure out what their process and timelines are, make sure they're aware of our efforts. Hopefully they're listening today, so at least they know high level what we're doing, but we've been trying to reach out and get in touch, so we'll keep doing that.
We'll continue those communications with our fine federal partner.
So.
Okay, you took a breath there, so you.
No, I'm good.
Thank
That's
you
all
for
I
that.
have, unless there's any
That
other
was
questions.
great. Board members, feedback, Mr. Countryman? Well, of course, I'm counting on you.
Well, Jeremy, I think what you've done is amazing, that you hadn't sat back and waited for the Corps to do it, which has been in the past, a big problem. They don't move, they're not quite as nimble as you guys are. And to hear what you've already done on this, I just got to congratulate you for leaning forward in the saddle and moving forward. Thank you.
I appreciate that, Board Member Countryman, and to give all the credit to Mitra Amami, Dave Wielden, their whole team in the Flood Maintenance and Operations Branch. They've really hit the ground running with this, and yeah, they're moving fast. Again, we just need funding, but we're ready. We'll be ready to go. We're organizing with our Division of Engineering and everything to get things lined up. So appreciate the comment.
The officer just handed me his phone.
Uh-oh.
Here's a text that was received from our Enforcement Division analyst. Good news does come on Fridays. All 8 LOIs that were pending with the Army Corps of Engineers have been approved as of 8/16. We can add this as an update for the board meeting, and we'll reflect it in the report. So
Great. So hopefully of the
we've been
22
writing letters and emails and
Right.
making those phone calls.
So of the 37, hopefully that 8 reduces that number down to 29.
Hope so, too. I didn't want to read those all, but yeah, good news on Fridays. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Countryman. Thank you. I'm so glad that we have a transcript for this. I'm going to make notes of all the things that we need to work on together, and we'll be in touch a lot.
Yeah.
And we stand ready when we are for any kind of subject matter before the coordinating committee throughout these 4 years of an update.
Definitely. And we'll probably, it might make sense to come back in, what is it, October, to give kind of an update on where we're at with these storm damage. We'll know a lot more by then, and so we'll come back in October to
Okay.
give you an update.
All right. You can come back in September, too, for other things.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Thank you. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
That's the end of item 9. Item 10 is a board item, and it's postponed. Because I think we're going to have our 6th board member come, I'm going to call for a 10-minute break right now. There you are. 10-minute break. our operator is behind this wall, which is why I did that. So yes, it ended up being the Dolan 10, but it didn't. It certainly sounded like everyone was having good conversations. The Central Valley Flood Board will reconvene from its 10-minute break. We are at item 11, where we note that we have received, is that right? That's where we are. It's like, we're going like this. Where we note that we have received reports from our executive officer on administration, which includes hearing from our attorney, a report from the operations branch, flood system improvement, environmental services and land management, flood planning and programs, our branches. So those are received. I did see some emails when the agenda came out to various staff about how appreciative we are of their comprehensive and quality of the reports. So we do read them, well, we will bring you up again. We'll do another cycle in 2024 of branch presentations. Board members want to say anything at this point? Okay, we have any hands up? Okay. That takes care of 11. Number 12 is board comments and committee updates. You don't want to talk about going to Chile? Welcome back, Mr. Vice President. Okay. Board Member Johnson, are you still on? If you wanted to give some kind of comment of what you've been doing, that would be fine. No one here wants to talk.
President Dolan.
There you are. Wow, hello. Was that you don't have anything?
I don't.
You and I will if the advisory committee ever meets again. We're hoping it will. I wanted to bring up that there's been an announcement that registration is open for the annual Water Summit that will be held in California. This is put on by the Water Education Foundation. I've attended these, and I've attended them even before I was on the board, and now at the board, and I think they're pretty helpful. So I just wanted to make a note to see if we could go. I think it only costs $30, and it's here in Sacramento. So it's unfortunate that the coordinating committee needed to be canceled or postponed again from this month because presenters weren't available, but we're, the steering committee and planning committee for that is trying to determine. I think the meetings for sure are not going to be planned to be monthly because it's just been difficult for people to be available for that, but we're hoping that re-energizes. This board will not have a workshop the second Friday in September because that's the week that many of our staff and certainly our stakeholders will be at the Floodplain Management Association conference. Member Grego will be going, and Member Countryman will be attending. And I believe that we have staff members that are on panels. Good for that. Should be on every panel, in my opinion, but Member Grego?
And I just wanted to mention that Tuesday, I'll be joining our executive director. It's Tuesday, right? That I'll be joining the executive director there in Yuba County with the Department of Finance, some of the folks that are going to be able to take a look at some of the projects in the northern portion of the state. And I'll be there on the Feather River to join them and talk about what we did on that setback levy. So it'll be fun.
It'll be extraordinarily informational for the work that's done in Yuba County.
I'll try to come from, an angle of finance, but also, about the project and how the project was such a benefit, not only to our side, but to the Sutter County side as well.
It's good to have vision and cooperation, and it's even better to have the money to do it.
That's exactly right. Thank you.
Department of Finance, that's good. Okay. Well, that takes care of number 13, 12 and 13. So what's left is for us to have closed session. I'm going to ask our board counsel to indicate the one item. I'll indicate the second. We'll convene into closed session. We think it might be a half hour. We don't anticipate any action to be noticed. Is that correct? And then after that, we'll adjourn. So we may be done by 11. That's a fastest one ever. Of course, if you have nothing on the agenda, it goes quickly. Mr. Dua, what is the item that we'll be discussing?
It is item A14A on the agenda, the United States versus approximately 331.41 acres. And the board is also named as a defendant in that case.
Okay, we'll discuss that.
And I do not anticipate any reportable action.
It's for information.
It is information only. Thank you.
Litigation for information,
Yep.
that will be one. The second will be G, as in good. And it's, I'm not going to read, but we have authority to do this for personnel matters. Our executive officer has surpassed his fourth month, and he's still with us. So the board wishes to discuss with him how it went and what needs to be done. We expect Board Member Bosler, she said she'd be here between 10:20 and 10:30, so we'll adjourn, we'll go into closed session, we go into this room. We'll come back just to adjourn at whatever time it is. So thank you for being here. Everyone's dismissed except our attorney, our executive officer, and the board. Recess to closed session.